everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast, and we got everybody here. Pags wandering around. How's it going, guys?
What's up, guys? I'm going to try to take you down to where we're at in Green Bay. Obviously, I kind of see down the street right here. We're going to get as close as we can to the draft stuff without getting ourselves in trouble.
Well, if you do, go down saying coast to coast. It always helps.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure if he hears us.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah, I got you.
But
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys. It's a pain. It's a pain today. Not sure what the hell's going on. But I'm going to log back out and come back in again.
Sounds
just so that I can see if I can get this better sound.
I feel like I wish I knew sign language. I could just sign language to Pags, and if he knew how to sign language back.
I mean, I know a couple of them.
I know a few too. You know what I'm saying? But,
oh man,
where do you want to start, Bo?
So I figured we'd be kicking it off with the draft anyway. But one of the things that's interesting is looking at Shedeur's draft stock and how much it's moved around, right? Yeah. I mean, there's been speculation that he could be the second overall pick. I've heard speculation there's a path for him to fall to the second round, which would be insane. And if you're watching, you'll have to hang out for that because we're going to join Pags again.
And you can hear me now. I can hear you guys. And I'm gonna play these games here with the camera so I can kind of show you guys what's happening here.
Comes the rain.
Oh wow!
And there's
draft day. I will tell you that. That looks like some severe rain coming your way.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. That looks fine.
You're from Philly. You might wash away.
My hair.
Yeah, and let's go facing front. No, that didn't work. Let's go facing back. I tell you, this is there we go.
Man, we got to get you a gimbal. Looks like you have.
like a walk-in.
Typical Wisconsin city, right there. That's typical Wisconsin.
Yes, there's not much, but like literally, Lambeau Field is right here.
It's
I tell you, it looks better with the other camera. I tell you, it's where I turn around and it looks better. So it's like, it's green. There it is right behind me, Well, we're going to try to get real close right now. I'm going to be meeting Dustin for the first time, live and in person.
Nice.
In about 15, 20 minutes. But we wanted to come down here and give you guys a good show of, like, they have the NFL experience kind of already put out. They've got some of these streets already closed off. They are really, trying to get around Green Bay. Like I said, this literally is in a neighborhood. So when they talk about this type of stuff, it really is like some of these people are going to have like hard times just getting in and out of their house. But I think if you wanted to see like the one house that like goes for like 10 grand each time, like this house right here, like right there, like they rent that house because that's their backyard or their side yard, at least Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. That's awesome. And what the cool part about it is that Dustin hooked me up with a parking spot.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
But there it is in all its splendor, Lambeau Field.
It is so weird that it's in a neighborhood.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
I will say this. That's how all of Green Bay, that's how all of Wisconsin is. Wisconsin is just like that. There's no hype. There's no craziness. It literally is everything is out in fields. And everything is right next to neighborhoods. I mean, that one house at Pags said they were renting out for 10 grand. When this draft is over with, you go rent that same damn house about $400 or $500. That's how crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true for any of the big events, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The price gouging for hotel rooms by the Super Bowl or national championship games, stuff like that. Like, it's always crazy. And so, the draft is going to be very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could tell, like, even some of these houses are, like, they have all of this stuff set up for parking. Like, they've got, like, their whole front yard is just, like, asphalt to be able to park cars because this is how they make their money, obviously. This is actually subsidizes their income 100% here.
Mm-hmm.
But you just kind of... So, but I just wanted to kind of come down this far here and just kind of show you what's going on. It's cool here. They got the bars across the street here. This is where we're going to be coming in to the experience, and we get all our stuff here. It's, yeah, and these clouds look a little ominous for right now, but ultimately I think we're going to be fine.
No, that's how Green Bay looks all the time. Like, it always looks like that. I don't know what it is about Wisconsin, but they always have gray skies. Bo, do you get the gray skies out where you are? Because that's literally how Wisconsin is 24/7.
I mean, have you ever watched a movie? Of course we do. Rob, it's before, so they're probably not going to have the vendors and food trucks and stuff there yet.
No, and from what it looks like I'm on like the back side of things. Like, this is, of course, it's hard to really determine because we're in a neighborhood, so literally, like, there's houses, streets dead end to Lambeau Field. So it's not like it's just an interesting setup all the way around. If in Philadelphia, South Philly has certain spots where it does back into it. You know what I mean? Where it also, comes in and it's like, okay, this is the neighborhood ends at the stadium.
Right.
This is a whole different, like they said, the neighborhood, the street, that last house that I just was at. I mean, literally across the street is Lambeau Field, and then the rest is parking around it. There's an Ace Hardware right here. You know what I mean? So there's houses in between the Ace Hardware and Lambeau Field. It's not often that you see that stuff.
Yeah.
As it's starting to rain, I'm gonna walk a little faster.
I mean, it's just typical Midwest, right? I mean, you're in the Midwest. That's just typically how the Midwest is. I mean, you're not going to get that high-end Philly or Chicago or whatever. It's Midwest.
Well, I mean, it's spring, so it that happens for most of the country anyway.
Right. I mean, but even like if you go to Milwaukee, it's very, very neighborhoody all the way up to Milwaukee. I mean, it's not like a whole lot of crazy highways or soup bowls or whatever. It's just very Midwest, Well,
the same thing with Barry, Indiana. Like, we were going to stop by Michael Jackson.
Don't get run over, Pags.
They ain't going to hit me. I'll hurt their cars more than they hurt me.
Especially that little car.
But there's been a lot of things. There has been some things that have like, prices for rooms have started to come down tremendously.
Oh, sure.
Rooms that were like $1,000 per night are now like $600 a night. You know what I mean? It's like there are affordable rooms now for the week because I guess they got beat up a lot. On the prices.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
as expensive as some of the flights were, I think a lot of people were just like, you know what, never mind.
So Detroit had somewhere in the neighborhood of 225,000 people that came in to watch the draft. That they had 225,000 people come into the area. I have a feeling that you are not going to get anywhere near that number.
Oh yeah, probably not.
Yeah, my expectation is that there's going to be 140, 150,000 people, just because ultimately it's nobody really wanted to come up here because the prices were so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the hardest part, when the NFL is doing this, and the NFL gouges these cities. So, especially in a place like Green Bay, I mean, we've spoken about what some of these contracts look like for like a Super Bowl. So, a draft is not much different. You know what I mean? They're saying, okay, well, we could do this for a Super Bowl. We could get all of this stuff for the draft too because we know what type of income it really brings. Well, you're going to find out this time around that Green Bay just isn't really. Well, it's probably going to cost the city of Green Bay money to have this rather than them make money.
Yeah, I wonder what the city of Green Bay is paying to have the draft there. I'd be curious to know that number.
Like I said, I've seen the buses. I'm sure they had to give up the hotels, and things like that. There's a number of different, things that just have happened. I can imagine that's okay. This is, all right. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. It really is their Super Bowl because there's never going to be a Super Bowl being held in Green Bay.
Yeah,
Right.
Lambeau Field, like they don't even have. They have bleachers.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So I just can't see that happening like for any other way.
Yeah.
As I get back into my car now because I'm getting wet. Perfect. Nice and warm in here. Watch Troy get come back all soaked.
Hopefully, it doesn't sail away in the rain.
right.
I got a big boat, so we'll be fine.
Oh,
If you think about it, the cost of living in that area is really not that expensive. I mean, in that area, for that particular event, it is. But the housing, things like that, it doesn't cost a lot to buy a house in Wisconsin. It's very affordable area, honestly. That's why I'm wondering how much they paid to have the draft there, because you're not going like the richest economy where they have just boatloads of money.
yeah. Well, but see, that doesn't matter because you're bringing those people in.
Yeah.
Like that's even places that are generally real cost effective. When it comes to big events, they gouge because those are the people flying in.
Right.
So it's just knowing who your clientele is in that instant.
Did you just pick up your parking pass?
I haven't. I'm here. I haven't gone inside yet because I'm on.
He did just text me saying they are inside. So
Yes, I figured I wasn't sure if you were going to be here or not, and
yeah, I'm here. I got to 11:45.
I have to assume that he's he's like, oh, this must be that guy walking around in Phillies gear, Eagles gear.
Go in there and say hi. Rob
Bring him in on the show.
Yeah, put him on
Put him in on the show.
Rob will love it.
All right, so and his name's Rob.
Yep, Rob.
Perfect. Let me we'll bring him in. Frame markers, right?
Frame makers.
Or
Yep.
frame makers. Frame makers. So I guess hold on. Let me switch off of this to speaker so that we can do this.
Oh, so you can hear him better, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep,
We
we
Yep.
got you.
Perfect. Back at 3.5 minutes. Say I was slow. Back in the car.
Dustin just
That's
trying
funny.
to get stand in the rain.
I just texted him. I'm like, "Are you at the?" Like my. Oh, okay. He said, "Yeah, I know why he's in the back room right now getting something. He'll be out in a minute."
That's a weird way to frame it.
That's good. That's good rhetorical.
He's the only one. I believe he's the only one in the shop right now. His other two employees aren't there. So if he goes in the back room,
Okay,
he's
that
gotta
makes
lock
more
the door.
I mean, I can't imagine a frame shop being too busy today.
You'd be surprised. He gets a lot of Packer players into his shop. He gets a lot of people in that shop and whatnot.
Coming and getting pictures and stuff framed?
like jerseys that get signed, they get framed there. Pictures that are signed, they get framed there. There's like
Oh, I got you.
there's
Okay.
like old movie pictures that have like a movie ticket on the bottom for like the first Star Wars movie that ever came out. They bring that in like the original frame, then he frames it into like a different frame.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so if he happens to text like where I went, just tell him I went to go pick up the Pittsburgh guy because I have a feeling it's starting to really ring now.
I just texted him saying you will be right in, and he said I'll be up in the front in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go grab the Pittsburgh guy because now he's
Getting
stuck
so
in the rain.
How far
Yeah,
away
he's-
is that?
So we went down to Lambeau Field just to take a quick peek, and it started to pour. So
It's,
As
good.
I
It's only supposed to rain for like an hour and a half, so it's not supposed to rain that long today.
right, I just wanted to see where he's at. So
just supposed to rain while you're outside. That's all.
Well, no, Friday's the day that's supposed to rain a good chunk of the morning into the afternoon. Like Friday's going to be a wet one for like all the pre-draft activities, but it's going to be
there he is.
before the
He
draft.
had enough sense to get out of the rain.
Yeah, I told him you'll be right back. I just told him you're going to pick up somebody quick.
Yeah, so this is riveting podcast material right now.
For sure. So what I was bringing up while you were logging out, logging back in, is how wide the projection is for Shedeur. And Tom Pelissero this morning put out a quote coming from an NFL assistant coach. Informal or worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. He's so entitled, takes unnecessary sex. Guess words are hard again today. He never plays on time, horrible body language, blames his teammates. And the biggest thing is he's not that good. That's pretty rough coming from NFL assistant coach. And even the ones the rest of the way through his article, a lot of them took time to note that he doesn't have the strongest arm and doesn't tend to play within the system.
Yep.
Even the ones that liked him had those knocks on him. And so there's been a lot of speculation that he might, do the Bo Callahan, start sliding down the board.
Be outside in the street alleyway. I don't understand what's going on.
Exactly.
That's what everyone has said. Like they said right now that if he goes in the top 10, it's going to be the Saints because the Saints with the Derek Carr situation, it just makes too much sense for them to pass on him if he's still sitting there.
Yeah, if he's there at 9, I could see the Saints doing it.
But if the Saints don't take him at 9, some even have him falling out of the first round.
Yeah.
Because once you get past 9, not a lot of those teams need a quarterback, and the ones that do could potentially trade back in the late 20s to get him for that fifth year option.
Well, Pittsburgh, and I was telling Bo this, Pittsburgh did say that they would take him at 21 if he was available.
Well, if you saw the report this morning, the Steelers are working on trying to get a Kirk Cousins trade right now.
Really?
I don't love Cousins for that.
I don't either, but the Vikings are also trying to trade for Kirk Cousins right now.
That would
How do you feel about Kirk Cousins there, Troy?
I'm sorry, man. I'm the gerontology at the stadium. I'm tired of our quarterbacks being senior citizens, too. I'm ready to roll with Mason. He's a veteran. He's coming into his prime. He's never had a better offensive line or a better receiving core. I say we ride with Mason and pick a defensive tackle to replace Cameron Hayward because he may be an all-star, but he's getting old. He's 38.
I tell you what, you got Troy Polamalu hair. That's some good hair. What kind of conditioner you use over there?
Head and shoulders.
I was gonna say, right?
Was that a whole setup? That was a setup, right? For advertising, free advertising.
It's Selsun Blue. Let's be real. I mean, if it's
but wow, I didn't realize they had that much bad things to say about Shedeur. I mean, we all know he's self-entitled. I mean, he's Deion's kid for crying out loud.
He's got the Teddy Bridgewater arm. where it's he can throw the ball 50 yards, but it's getting that over the 55 yards that's an issue. And that was Teddy Bridgewater's biggest knock why he fell so far, as he was accurate, but he didn't have the big arm that NFL quarterbacks look for.
So Troy wants to talk about the quarterback situation out in Pittsburgh.
I think this is very weak quarterback draft. We already, we don't want to get stung twice. We wasted a first-round pick on Kenny Pickett 3 years ago, and I say no Dart, no Shedeur, no Prime, no Diddy. That's got Troy out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you wouldn't have Mason either because DK and Pickens would murder him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Kenny Pickens, because he's going to be the starting quarterback in Cleveland.
Not necessarily.
I don't know, but I'm curious to know what Troy thinks, how far he thinks Pittsburgh's going to roll with Mason. So you get Mason. Could that lead to Tomlin's first losing season?
What people don't realize is Mason has a 9-5 record as a starter. And not only that, there was a game where Deontay dropped the winning touchdown against Detroit where we tied when they were 0-8. So really, he really has a 10-5 starting record. Mason is better than press give him credit for. And like I said, he's a big, strong guy. And there's another little secret a lot of people don't know. George Pickens' best friend on the team was Mason Rudolph. Yeah. And last year, Pickens went off the rails several times because Mason wasn't there to, put his arm around his shoulder and say, "Hey, bud," And I think having him back is going to make a banner season for Pickens as well.
And we're going to go into frame makers right here.
Robbie!
We got Dustin over here.
Hey, Dustin.
What's going on, Robbie?
Yes, I washed my hands.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So he has graciously given us a parking spot. Literally, you saw the walk that we just took down there. So it's going to be awesome to be able to just go right here, pull right up, walk right down the street, be able to drink as much as we want, sober up on the walk back, and then drive an hour to where we're staying, which is not close.
That is deep.
But anyways, I'm gonna hold out for a minute just to get this worked out. I'll be back on in just a few minutes.
Cool. All right.
The famous frame makers. If I ever go there, I'm gonna go meet that guy.
You should. He advertises with me for work, and he does a hell of a job with what he does.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, Pat's about to get a nice hookup thanks to Dustin. Because, like you said, what did you say the parking was? I think you said it was like $600 or something.
Like parking's like $250 to $300 a day, depending on where you go. If you want to park right at Lambeau, you're looking at, I think, $500 a day. He's giving it to, I think, Pegs for like $250 for the weekend.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
That is a good hookup.
No, that's great. That's great.
So yeah, he's still making money on it, obviously, but he's not going to rip people off for like what some of these other people are paying, and even some of these other people too are charging $150 a day. So you're still cheaper just to go with that option, pay the $250 for the weekend, and you get unlimited entry, unlimited exit because it's a business. You can't tell the person how many times they can and can't leave once they pick up the little thing that you got to hang in your mirror.
Right. No, absolutely. But yeah, back to Shedeur though. I mean, I just didn't realize it was to that level. I mean, I knew about the entitled part, but
what hurt him, and this is the first time I will say the NFL Combine is something that he should have done. He didn't throw at the Combine. He didn't do like all of the testing that people look at, and this is the one instance where it actually might hurt him because everyone's saying you don't have the arm strength. Okay, I'll go throw at the Combine and show you that I have the arm strength. Well, if you don't do that, if you don't do the pro day, it ain't going to help your stock too much.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, if you can't hit longer than that, it doesn't help you to go to prove that you can't hit
exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Well,
if you're not going, that's almost like, I think Deion's like, hey, if you do this and you can't complete what they're asking you to do, it's going to kill your. And I almost at that point, it's almost like pleading the fifth at a trial. You're better off not saying anything and just taking your chances.
Pretty much.
Which tells me if he didn't do the pro day, if he didn't do the combine, maybe they're absolutely right. Maybe he doesn't have the arm strength. And if Pittsburgh did take him, and DK does like to have it aired out, or Pig like to have it aired out, then it's not really going to help Pittsburgh out a whole hell of a lot to have a quarterback that can't make those throws.
For sure. I mean, but the biggest thing is the knocks that you're hearing. Yeah, it's arm strength is one of them, but it's character things that keep popping up.
It's a lot of
it is a major issue.
And a lot of what you're hearing is a lot of the negative things that you heard about Caleb Williams last year. Like Caleb Williams had a lot of character flaws that some of the GMs kind of complained about. Caleb Williams was known for playing off script and kind of going away from the play call. The thing that bailed Caleb Williams out was he had the arm. He had the arm, he had the accuracy, and he won a Heisman. Like, even though he had a bad character, he didn't necessarily go with what the play was supposed to do and kind of did his own thing. He was able to make up for it in different ways versus Shedeur hasn't had that. Well, I'm not saying he hasn't had the opportunity, but he doesn't have the same intangibles to make up for it like Williams did.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have the hardware to go with it either.
Yeah.
The one bowl game he got into, they got beat, right? Yeah. And it's not like it was, we lost by a field goal or something. Like, they got beat down.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's walking into that with, a Heisman or, a bowl win, maybe, some success in the playoff or anything like that. They didn't make the playoff. They don't win their bowl game. He was a fringe thought for a Heisman, right? Like, it wasn't, he didn't put a body of work together to make you think that everybody's going to be super hyped on it.
No.
Well, the fact that that coach said that he also doesn't play within the system.
He doesn't.
One thing I know about Tomlin is that Mike Tomlin is a very disciplined kind of guy.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's going to bode well with Tomlin if Shedeur plays outside the system or doesn't play within his system.
The thing with Tomlin is if Shedeur does go outside his system like he's accustomed to doing, if it works, Mike Tomlin's not going to say too much. Like, if he's playing outside of the system and they're winning games and he's not turning it over and whatnot, he's not going to be happy about it because that's not the type of coach he is, but he's not going to kind of say too much about it. He's just going to kind of let Shedeur do his own thing.
I mean, winning cures all and everything.
But if he goes in there,
you can have every bad intangible ever, but if you're winning, they'll overlook all of that.
But if he goes in there and he starts playing,
you got to win. That's the big thing, right?
If he goes in there and he starts playing off script, then he's turning it over and whatnot, and Pittsburgh's still winning games because of their defense, then Tomlin's going to have something to say.
Well, he'll lose his job.
Yeah.
Very similar to what happened to Fields.
Yeah, he'll just be like,
Fields did nothing spectacular. In fact, he looked below average. But the defense had a lot of interceptions, scoop and scores. Like, that defense won them 3 of the 4 wins that Fields had, which is why he didn't get to keep the job. Because had those wins had something to do with him, they would have embodied the, hey, stay with the hot hand, right? You know what? He's not making mistakes. We're winning with him. A lot of teams will continue to roll with that. If you're winning in spite of your guy, that's where you move off him, regardless if you're winning or not.
Right. And here's the thing. He might be able to play outside the system at a lesser competitive conference than where he was at in college. I don't know, playing outside the system at a much greater level at the NFL side, if that's going to help him or that's going to play to his advantage.
So it won't in Pittsburgh for sure.
Right.
But I mean, the thing is it just depends on how your team is put together. If you have an offensive line that's designed to get it so you can move around, that system can work. I mean, you watched Russell Wilson do it here in Seattle.
Right.
He doesn't do well on script in the pocket. Like, that's not where he's great. But if you have an offensive line that can create throwing lanes and allow him to move around, which is what that line did early in his career, you can have success. But the team has to be built that way.
Right.
And, largely, it's that particular team isn't. Hey,
We're back. Set up and ready to go. We're going to go find cheese curds.
Green Bay's finest.
cheese
Oh,
curds.
you won't have a problem finding cheese
Good,
curds. That's easy.
Good cheese curds would be Kroll's West down the street, which is right.
That's exactly where we're going. So you're going to talk to Troy in the meantime, and I'm going to drive to go get cheese curds.
Right
Yeah,
on.
when we walked down to Lambeau there, I ran into an older gentleman. He's a local guy waiting for his B&B renters. We were chatting underneath Eve because it's raining like hell here. And I asked him, hey, where are the best cheese curds in Wisconsin or in a Green Bay area? And he said right down the street, half a mile. So we're going to run down there and get some.
They're beer batter deep fried cheese curds.
Oh, man. You could beer batter a cat turd would taste good. I'll eat anything with beer batter on it.
So the fact that you know what a cat turd tastes like scares me a little bit. Troy. That means you've had
I'm a
it
man of
without batter.
metaphor. I'm a man of analogies and metaphors. I'm sorry.
No. I make my whole life on metaphors, so I appreciate it.
Oh man.
Yeah, just get the cheese curds with one of Kroll's burgers because Kroll's has great cheeseburgers also.
Nice.
Oh, they have a great cheeseburger too. Well, it's up to Jamie. I'm on his schedule, and I asked him if he'd do this, and he said yes. Because I like to do the best cheesesteak in Philly when I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
The best like corned beef in Cleveland and so on.
You got to eat your way through the towns you visit. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. You ask the locals, and they never steer you wrong.
No.
Well, you gotta get a Butterburger. If you're gonna go to Wisconsin, hell, even Dust will tell you Butterburgers is where it's at, man.
Culver's?
Yeah, you know what? But not even in Culver's. Culver's is like the chain. That's a chain version of it. You gotta go to the mom and pops, like charcoal. Yeah, like if you were in Sheboygan.
Okay, if you're talking mom and pop burgers, it's
Yeah.
gonna be about 3 miles from Lambeau Field, directly downtown Green Bay, at a place called Al's Hamburgers. It is literally designed like a 1970s hamburger style restaurant, super small but just awesome smash burgers.
But Troy, I want you to understand this now. When, like for example, like Charcoal Inn in Sheboygan, it's a mom and pop burger joint. But when you get a Butterburger there, Troy, look, when you walk in, they got a pan. It's like this deep and it's like this long, and it's just a big glob of mountainous butter. And they put this thing on the burger. So you are literally going to have a freaking core in it. And matter of fact, if you could walk out of there and not pass out before you get to the car, you are one hell of a guy.
You know, that's like when people go to the fair and they get deep fried butter. Like you're eating a stick of butter. I don't understand what people are doing.
Deep fried, yeah, deep fried butter, deep fried cheesecake, deep fried everything.
I mean, that is one of the most ridiculous fair foods. Obviously, I've never tried it, but
Yeah, you've been to
Yeah.
Wisconsin State Fair, right? When you lived in Sheboygan?
Yeah.
So they have a thing now. If you don't remember where the big expo center was,
Yeah.
they have the deep fried sampler now at the state fair, where you get deep fried pickles, deep fried cheesecake, deep fried Oreos, like 7 other deep fried things. You just get everything on a stick. I'm like, see, I'm good.
Let me explain something to you, Troy. What Dustin is trying to tell you is if you go to the state fair, you're going to have an appointment with your cardiologist right afterwards, because I guarantee you your artery is going to be backed up worse than any traffic on I-45, which in Houston you've ever seen. And yeah, you're going to die.
you'll
You're
have
gonna
to wait
die.
till the food poisoning wears off. But yes,
Like, I don't even know what the lifespan of somebody in Wisconsin is, but I guarantee you, Troy, they don't live long there.
72.
Have you ever been, when you've been to Pittsburgh, before COVID, Jerome Bettis had his own restaurant. It's the closest restaurant to the stadium. It's called Bettis 36, but his specialty was beer batter deep fried cheeseburgers.
Oh,
jeez.
And that was acid reflux special, but it tasted good. It tasted great.
Well, that's like in Vegas. They have the what is it? It's the heart attack burger, and it's aptly named.
That's when you
So
wake up
we're
in the
here.
morning and you're told, like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die.
So we are here at Kroll's West.
Okay.
the game.
We were
day.
able to pull right in, and it is literally right across the street from
Yep,
Lambeau Field.
It is the game day staple. They open on Packer games. They open early because they're right across from Lambeau Field. Like that is like their famous game day stop for a lot of people.
Right, and actually, they also have covered parking, which is amazing.
Yep.
You know, that is awesome stuff because literally, you know, It would suck to have to walk in the rain.
I mean, covered parking is a good plan, especially if everybody's going there during the
Especially
season.
in Green Bay when it snows.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I'm
saying.
about to say when it snows, that's when it's really important.
That way you can grab your food and not get covered. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Hey, but I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta stop at an appointment that I gotta go meet with Rob, so I'll be back on tomorrow.
Right on. Take it easy, man.
You too.
All right, then I'm going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how close we are right here while we're still in the car. Literally, Lambeau Field is right there.
gorgeous. That's a nice view right there.
Yeah, the calm before the storm. It's
yeah.
going to be a madhouse tomorrow.
It is going to be a madhouse tomorrow. But we're going to have a cocktail here and some cheese curds.
Sounds like a weird combo, but hey, have fun.
You know,
Hey, beer and cheese. I mean, what else could?
Yep.
I mean, I think that's life, right?
I will tell you. Whatever you do, don't go in the bar and say anything negative about Brett Favre. I found out that doesn't always go well in the city of Green Bay.
I mean, it's far enough removed. I think it'd be all right.
Oh
Now.
no, I thought so too one time. I thought so too, and it didn't turn out that way.
No, I'm going to talk more about Reggie White.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but
Right.
I will be back on again tomorrow at 11 o'clock Central Time because that's our time here.
That's true.
Now you're on
And,
my time zone.
I am on your time zone,
There you go.
but I'm going to go get some beer and some cheese.
All right. Have an extra beer for me, man.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe two
There we go.
extra beers.
There we go.
Good time.
Take it easy, man.
All right, guys, I'll talk to you.
Yep. All right.
He's gonna have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna put on about 20 pounds in Green Bay, though. I'm telling you right now, that food, it is good, but man, and you, boy, I tell you what, I like to be a fly on the wall there.
So, Rob, there is a real concern about the Hawks trading out, mostly because we've seen them do it. And if they are targeting an interior offensive line or edge rusher, they don't have to pick where they are. They can get somebody in the second round that's every bit as good as the guy they'd pick up at 18. So it wouldn't shock me if they added a couple more picks and dropped back. That being said, they already have 5 picks in the top 100. So they may not really need to add more picks to this particular draft. So in theory, if they did drop back, it may be for future drafts, the added things that they get. So it'll be interesting to watch. It does kind of change where I might go watch it. So when you asked me yesterday, I was still leaning towards going to Muckleshoot, which, if you're here in the Seattle area, that's down in Auburn. And Lofa Tatupu is one of the hosts, so former Seahawk. I'm starting to lean more towards going to Legion Sports Bar in Bellevue because it's not such a far drive. And if I sit there the whole time and we don't actually pick, I don't want to have an hour and a half drive home. So, so I may hit up Legion Sports Bar. If you haven't decided what you want to do, Rob, I think that's going to be the route. Cam and Sherman will both be there. They're both hosting that event, so they'll be in the building. So anybody watching here in the Seattle area, if you wanted to go out to Legion, say hi. There's a high probability that's where I'll be watching. So,
I will say this.
Are you watching at home? Or are you going to go do something, Jay?
Oh no, I'm gonna watch it here at the house. I might.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I might go get some wings. You know what? Hey, I might have to go get some wings and watch it.
There we go.
I might have to do that. Yeah. But let me say, the Titans have said, I read an article, the Titans said they're not going to draft out of 1. So I'm almost thinking now that I don't think Abdul Carter does go 1. I think it's probably going to be Cam Ward at 1.
See, that's the thing, is it sounds like the Titans aren't moving off their picks. So, yeah, it sounds like Cam Ward is going to be number 1, which, I mean, that's fine. The Titans need somebody. Like, they need so many things, though.
Right. But and I agree. I mean, I think definitely. And I don't know. I mean, if you since the Titans are drafted at 1, and then, unless you really just believe 100% in Cam Ward, is this really going to change the Titans' destiny in terms of what they've been producing for the last since they've had Willis and Malik since Tannehill, really?
Yeah, well, I mean that's the biggest thing is they just haven't had a good roster. But the other end of that is the Will Levis thing didn't work, so they have to do something else. And the thing about dropping off of the first overall pick is it's not like you're going to get the first overall pick next year. It's not like you get to just shove that into next season, right? So whoever you trade with, you're going to get whatever their pick is. So it may be a top 10 still, but you're not going to get that number 1 pick. So then you'd be giving up stuff to try and move back up if that's even available to you. So, I mean, sometimes you just got to use the pick when you got it, because it's not very often you get the number 1 overall. Prime example of that, Seahawks have never had it. Not one time have they had the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
So, the highest they've ever picked was 2. Which is crazy when you think about the fact that the year that they got the second pick, they were 2-14, and they weren't the worst team.
That's crazy. Oh my God, 2-14. I mean, what's 1-15 or something?
No, incidentally, the team that got the number 1 pick that year, this was 1992, was the Patriots, because the Patriots were still hot trash back then, and they had the same record, but Seattle had the tiebreaker between the two, so they were technically the better team.
I got you.
And so that's how they didn't end up with the number 1 overall pick.
That tiebreaker. Sometimes you got to know when to lose, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, they couldn't have lost much more than they did that year. So it was a rough one.
So let's talk about the second, third pick, because I think that's where a lot of interest, I think, for me really is, because Browns, Giants took in offers, haven't rejected anything, so I think that's still on the table.
Yeah.
But if the Browns do stay in it too, do you go with Abdul Carter and pair him opposite of Myles Garrett, because that would be one hell of a pass rush? Or do you then go with Travis Hunter and get the dual threat?
Man, it's such a tough call, right? I mean, because you're still, like, the roster's still good enough. If you had good quarterback play, you can win, right? I mean, the defense is good. They have some decent pieces. That it's just such a weird spot for them, because they could take Shedeur and he potentially could work there, except it's the Browns. And so that's exactly right. I think they take Travis Hunter because they could use a DB, and then they'd have packages for him in the second spot, as a wide receiver.
Right.
So they probably go that route, but then you're still kind of, what are you doing at quarterback? Because Deshaun's not it. I mean, he's not going to be available anyway, but even if he was, like, he's clearly not that guy. But I think they're not saying no to a trade, but the value they'd have to get would be insane. Right.
Yeah, and that's so that brings up then the Giants at 3. Right. And from all the things I've heard and stuff, I was telling you earlier, Dable really likes Jackson Dart. Does he stay at 3 and probably take Abdul Carter and fortify his front, or does he trade back, try to pick up some picks, and then take maybe Dart either in the second, or maybe gets an early second round pick and try to take Dart in the second, or does he take, or does he try to take Dart in the middle of wherever he drafts in the first?
Yeah, no, I don't think you have to reach for Dart is the thing. And Jamie, there is no way. If he was playing 150 snaps a game, he'd be hurt by week 3. No question. realistically, if he gets drafted, he's going to be a DB, and then he'll have packages in the offense. And so if they use him that way, it makes sense. If they try and actually use him both directions, he's going to have a really short NFL career.
Right. I think they're going to wind up using him just like Dallas used Dion. You know, I think it's going to be exact, almost carbon copy, because that's what Dallas did with Dion. They had packages for him as offense, but his primary position was DP. And I really think that's the way he's going to go.
Yeah, no, but if you're Travis Hunter, you'd like to be a receiver because they make more, right? So you may want to be listed as a receiver. Last thing you want to do is be split between the two, because then you end up with contracts like Taysom Hill, where on paper it looks like it's something, but in actuality, you're not going to get most of it. Scott, I know that they've kind of announced that these are set in stone. And if everything stays exactly how it is, it probably is. That being said, we've all seen a lot of crazy stuff happen on draft day where we knew someone's pick and then they traded out of it last second. So as much as I appreciate, NFL Network basically saying they've even said as far as potentially the top 5 picks are kind of locked in. I never trust that until we see them come off the board, because there's so many times that last second somebody makes a trade because they're trying to get their guy. So we'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see where guys move around.
And that's another thing, like Ashton Genty. I know a lot of people had Ashton Genty going at 6 to the Raiders, but I've seen some where Ashton Genty is going to the Jaguars at 5, and I can see Ashton Genty going to 5. That's interesting. I've also seen where the Cowboys and Jerry Jones has said they're working on some substantial trades.
Yeah, well, and this is exactly what Scott's talking about. Is there's speculation of boards moving around, guys going up to get guys, like Bears going to get Gentry at 4. So I mean, it's always so, and it's why I hate mock drafts. It's why I don't do them. I think they're stupid. Because you could put 500 out, you might get 2 of the guys right. Right? Right? I mean, because there's always so much craziness. I mean, the thing that's funny is, I'm sure just about everybody that's watching this has seen Draft Day, right? And what's funny about that is it seems unrealistic, right? Where he's like, I want my picks back and all of this, except that movie was actually based on transactions that happened. Right. Yeah. They were based on real events. Now, they didn't all happen with the same team or the same year or anything like that, but they're all based on things that happened in some of those draft rooms. And so, I mean, you just never know what's going through a GM's head, which is why when we're doing these mock drafts and stuff, it's like, man, the odds of you nailing a draft is 0.
Yeah. But I kind of wonder what Cowboys are going to do. I mean, because they didn't specify if the trades were going to happen before the draft, at the draft, or during the draft. I'm curious to see what they do.
No, it'll be during now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Right, you're right, because the draft's tomorrow. But my thought process is, if that's the case, I wonder if Jerry does try to move out of 12. And I'm curious if Jerry is going to go up in the 12 or back from 12.
If you guys move your dropping, and the only reason I say that is you guys have some cap issues that a higher draft pick starts to hurt you being able to sign draft picks, right? The higher up the board, the more expensive. And, if you are looking at probably offensive linemen also, right? You don't need to pick at 12. Like you can pick.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
So, I mean, you can pick all the way through the second round and get good offensive linemen. So there's really no need to move up, and there's no need to reach for it, especially if you're looking at defensive line, offensive line. There's no need to reach for those positions.
Right.
because of how deep this draft is for those. Now, if you were in the market for one of the 3 safeties that are good, or one of the 3 wide receivers, or something like that, or one of the 2 quarterbacks, then you have to move a little bit, right? I mean, maybe not from 12, but if you're later in the round, you may not be able to get there. So,
But I know the Cowboys have been linked in drafts, a lot of drafts, to McMillan. I don't want that. I think that guy Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas,
sure.
I think they can move back, a few spots and grab him, somewhere around maybe even 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think you could get that because what Dallas really needs is offensive line and defensive line. We don't need the wide receivers. We can pick up a wide receiver here or there, whatever, in free agency or whatever the case is, or even in later rounds.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But we don't need to do it at pick 12. To me, that's like the worst thing you can do. Now, that's going to be a flashy thing for Jerry. That's what Jerry likes to do. But I'm hoping that somebody will maybe Steven will talk to Jerry and be like, look, because I know that there are trades. So I'm hoping maybe they'll trade back, go for a guy like Banks, go for another defensive tackle or something like that, and try to show up those trenches. We all know trenches. I mean, Philadelphia is a great example of if you got good offensive, defensive lines, you can really be dominating in a Super Bowl situation.
No, for sure. And Scott, this is a good question. I'm always interested to see what everybody's doing because we have a daily sports show, so we're going to talk about all these teams anyway. But I'm really interested to see the Jags and the Bengals because those are 2 teams that don't play defense, that have spent a lot of money on their offense, especially the Bengals. As bad as those units are, I mean, you feel like they have to be going heavy on the defensive side in the draft, right? And then at the same time, I feel like they're both going to fumble the bag because that's what they do. So they're going to be interesting to watch, just morbid curiosity, because you're looking at it from the outside and you're like, okay, well, you have some obvious needs, right? So you should probably do that. It happens to be that the draft is kind of deep at the needs that you have. And for some reason, it still feels like they're going to do the wrong thing.
I got to tell you, I know Troy said a minute ago how much he really believes in Mason Rudolph. And nobody's going to tell that man anything because that's his team. And I know he really, deep dives on his team and things like that. So I would never want to get into his stats with the Pittsburgh Steelers with Troy.
Well,
but I do think
percentage actually isn't wrong, right? Like he is 9-5 as a starter. So it's not like he's inaccurate that way.
Right.
It's just, do you believe Mason Rudolph is that guy? That I don't.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I really think the Steelers are the ones that, in my mind, I'm most intrigued by because they really are in a precarious situation. If Shedeur drops to 21, does Tomlin feel obligated to take him at 21, or does he try to go for a Kirk Cousins via trade, or does he try to still continually wait on Aaron Rodgers? I feel like the Steelers at 21 are in a very weird spot or very tumultuous spot because that really is a big decision on their part that could either say Tomlin will remain in a winning season or he could actually have his first losing season if he doesn't get this decision correct.
Well, it's a weird spot because of what their need is.
Right.
So, their biggest need obviously is quarterback. And at that position, you're not going to spend the money to jump up, right? Like, you're not going to spend the draft capital to move up to go get a guy. Nor do I think that the guys that are going to go up there are worth it anyway. But that aside, then you're looking at late second, early third. You're looking at, the Milrose, the Darts, the Ewers, those guys. Are they better than Mason? Day one, they're not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. And of course, Kirk Cousins, I don't think is a great fit. They have an okay offensive line. It's not great. Cousins isn't mobile, though. It never has been. So is it a good enough line for him? Yeah, I don't know about that. Rodgers brings his own level of chaos. So, I don't really love that fit either. He can chuck the ball. They got 2 receivers that can go get it. So, I mean, that part of it makes sense, except he's he's a problem. DK has his issues. Pickens has his issues. So you pair those three, and it just seems like if they're not winning right away, it could be a real problem. I don't know. The Steelers are going to be very interesting to watch to see what it is they do at that quarterback position, because I don't actually see the right answer for them at the moment.
No, I totally, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I think, to me, that's going to be a big surprise to see, or not a surprise, but I'm curious to know what they're going to do with that. That's going to be interesting to watch or keep an eye on. I also think, and I don't want to nail that one too much more, but I still feel like the Giants is a team to watch, because I feel like if he does want Dart, I think you could get, he could trade up in the second round or he could trade back from 3, get an offensive tackle. He could even try to get a Banks, right? Because I feel like the Giants also need to build up their offensive line. That's another team that needs to do more work on that line.
Well, the Giants need everything.
Well, exactly. But we got to start with the trenches first, because if whoever you draft, or Russell, whoever it is, they're going to need some sort of protection. I think you go back and you get an offensive line or offensive tackle, try to get maybe trade them for a high second round pick, or try to trade up in the second round and get Dart maybe around 26 with the Rams or somewhere in that neighborhood. That way you get offensive lineman and you get a quarterback, and you get them at the right spots, to make it work.
So we're pretending that Schoen's a good GM then. That's what we're doing?
Probably.
So we're just in like fantasy land.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know that Jay McLovin has not had an ounce to drink today. He is sober. There
was just so much yesterday. It's lingering in. It's. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? Like you've watched him do the wrong thing so much that I don't trust them to make the right decision anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's the Giants, and they almost seem to go on the path of, here's the right decision, here's the wrong decision. And you can see obvious decisions, and you're like, yeah, I'm still going to do this anyway.
Hey, I know we only got a few minutes left, but I want to go real quick. I just want to get your predictions on who's going to win tonight in the NBA playoffs real quick. There's only 3 games. Magic, Celtics. Who you got, Bo?
I got the Celtics.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Heat, Cavaliers.
That one's tough. Where is that one?
So that one is in Cleveland.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take Cleveland at home. And
Cleveland's up 1. So you think that goes up 2-0 then?
Yeah, I got Cleveland at home. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Tyler Hero is going to be nowhere near enough, and Adebayo is going to be near enough to take out that Cleveland team. So I definitely am going to go Cleveland as well. And then this one is where I think it gets tricky, Bo. It's in Houston. We know that how well that game went on Sunday for the Rockets. It was very chippy. It was very close. It was all over the place.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Man. Yeah, I'm going to lean Rockets, but I think it's a coin flip.
I'm going to lean Rockets only because the fact that I know what took them out of that game wasn't their inability to get it done. It was their inability to make the adjustment. I felt like if Udoka would have said, Van Fleet, don't worry so much about the damn 3 ball. Let's get more high percentage shots and make those, and we're going to stay in the game. And I felt like Van Fleet kind of killed them all. And the turnovers and that field goal percentage at 39 and 20 at the arc. I mean, if they can just make those quick adjustments, I feel like the Rockets can really be back into this. So I'm going to go Rockets because I feel like Udoka is the kind of coach that knows how to make adjustments, and I think that this team really wants it. So I'm going to go 1-1. I do think Golden State walks away with a great feeling going back to Golden State if they are 1-1, because if you can take one away when you're on the away.
Oh, no. Anytime you can steal an away game is good, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they did. They stole one from us.
The thing, and then, of course, yesterday you got Memphis losing again.
Yeah.
And, of course, I buried Ja after game 1 for, goofing around and not being locked in and whatever. And then, of course, in the after game presser, he's like, oh, yeah, we'll never play that bad again. They turn around and get rocked by 19, right? And so now they've been outscored by 70 points. They've only played 2 games.
Well, he was right. They didn't get rocked by 51. They only got rocked by 19.
Yeah, which is still not great. So, and like I said yesterday, I think this is a series that, they're going to lose handily. And man, they're well on their way.
Yeah, they are, Bubba.
That being said, we are up against it time-wise. We are going to get out of here. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. And, of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow.